Caroline here. If you don't know me, my name is Caroline and I OMAD. And what OMAD means, because the world cannot go without acronyms, it means 1 meal a day. So my days are usually 23 hours fasting and 1 hour of eating window. All right. The reason why I'm jumping on today is I've had a lot of family members and friends notice my weight loss, and they were asking me what I was doing. And I told them I'm doing OMAD, and they were like, whoa. And then I kind of said, well, it's a form of intermittent fasting. And then they were like, tell me more because I've heard about this. So, what I want to do here is kind of give you the basics because I talked to them and then I've been receiving like some more questions and some calls. So, I just kind of wanted to give you the roundabout idea of intermittent fasting and how you can make it work for you. I do have to say, I am not a doctor. I am not a nutritionist, and I am not a personal trainer, okay? I am just a lady who started her weight at 235 and now is down to 212, and that happened within 10 weeks. So I am in week 11 of 1 meal a day. So I'm just going to tell you what I have learned, what I have picked up, and suggestions for you starting this new lifestyle journey. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about the whole intermittent fasting lingo. All right, so because I find myself using this lingo with people who are not familiar with intermittent fasting, and they're like, okay, what did you mean by that? So I just want to kind of give you the basics of the intermittent fasting lingo. There's much more. I'm just giving you the basics so you understand what the heck people are talking about, okay? So first off, if you read something like IF and IF is awesome and it's changed my life, that means intermittent fasting is awesome, okay? So IF equals intermittent fasting, just like OMAD equals 1 meal a day. OMAD falls under the category of intermittent fasting, but there are tons of kinds of intermittent fasting. You don't have to go to the extreme like I did. I just jumped cold turkey on 1 meal a day. So I just was like, all right, I'm going to fast for 23 hours every day and only eat for 1 hour, 1 meal. And that I know sounds kind of crazy, but it's what I knew I could do. I am an all-in kind of person, and it's what I knew I could do. And actually, I'm to the point now that it's very easy for me, and I feel like I could do this forever. So that's pretty awesome. That just tells you it is a lifestyle and not a diet, right? So let's talk about a couple of other lingos. So when you hear me say window, so I fast for 23 hours and I open my window up for 1 hour in order to eat. When I say window or somebody says window, that is the hours in which a person can eat food and eat things that is going to spike their insulin, okay? When we talk about fasting, especially in the intermittent fasting lifestyle, we're talking about clean fasting. And when I say clean fasting, and I have to really tell you, I think that clean fasting is more important than what you eat during your window, okay? So when I talk about clean fasting, I'm talking about only having black coffee, water, and plain tea. So, yep, that does not mean you can add creamer. That does not mean you can add sugar to your coffee. That does not mean you can add sweetener to your coffee. That also means you cannot add stuff to your water, like sugar-free Crystal Light. You can't have any artificial sweetener during your fasting time. And as far as your teas, keep them just plain teas, no artificial flavors or sweeteners, nothing like that. Straight up tea, okay? So black coffee, black tea, if that's the way we want to call it, and water. That is clean fasting, and I have to tell you that is probably the most important thing because we have been like kind of programmed to think that weight loss is all about our diet. And actually, when you start looking into intermittent fasting, you realize that it's actually your insulin spike. When you eat, your insulin spikes. When you're stressed, your insulin spikes. So it's mainly about doing things that may not spike your insulin. And if you're fasting, you're definitely not spiking that insulin. So, why is that so important? That is so important because when your insulin spikes, anytime you have an insulin spike, your body is no longer focused on itself. It's no longer burning fat stores on your body. It's no longer producing clean and healthy cells. It's no longer detoxing your body because you don't need a miracle drink. You don't have to drink some miracle drink for 7 days to detox. Your body has been made to detox your body if you give it time to. So we want to keep that insulin spike just within that window so that during all the fasting hour, now after you eat and close your window, your body is burning up what you ate for probably about 8 hours. But after that 8 hours, it is strictly burning fat stores, detoxing your body, and it is just healing your body. That's what's awesome about intermittent fasting. It is so good for you. Okay, so I just wanted to share a little bit about that and the logic behind that and why insulin spikes are what we don't want during our fasting time. So clean fasting, people, I'm telling you, it's the key. Clean fasting. All right. So some people may say, well, you can do bulletproof coffee. I've never really messed with that. I can't even tell you how to make it. But my suggestion, I know people will argue, but I suggest just stay away from it. So, because why risk spiking your insulin? You know, all you gotta do is delay yourself until your window. We're not denying anything. We're just delaying it. Okay. All right. So first thing I need to say about the steps. Now you understand what a window is. Now you understand what clean fasting is and how important that is. So now we're going to talk about how you can decide what is the best journey for you. All right. And when I talk about that, I want you to be honest with yourself, because one thing great about intermittent fasting is you can do a certain style of intermittent fasting, and then when you get all adjusted, you can switch to a different style of intermittent fasting. So for instance, my husband has been doing 18-6. All right. So when I say 18-6, or if you ever see this kind of simple, the first number means the fasting time, and the second number means the amount of time his window is open. All right. So he had started doing 18-6. He's been doing it for 2 weeks and has been very successful. He is now talking to me about actually doing 19-5. Never heard of that fast, but that's okay because you can do what you want to do. All right. So pick your fast window that works for your lifestyle. Okay. So you want to think about the window that works for your lifestyle. I do 1 meal a day because I just jumped in cold turkey and, just was like, I can do it. Most people can see the benefits of intermittent fasting if you keep the window at least 8 hours open and shorter. Okay? So we know that. So we want to have your goal 8 hours of open window to eat, and that is it. All right, because it's been proven successful if you keep it at 8 hours or less. All right. So a lot of my sisters were like, well, how do you track your fasting hours? When do you know it's time to eat? And I just was like, don't worry about the fasting part as long as you're keeping it clean. That's the only thing you need to worry about. What I want you to do is take a look at your day and say, all right, I know that I can eat lunch at noon, and I know that I eat dinner before 7 o'clock. So I'm going to have an open window from noon until 7, or noon until 8, to make sure I get the meals in. And that's all you need to worry about. The fasting, because you've just now picked noon to 8, is an 8-hour window. So you have gotten where you want to be already for your fasting hours. It's going to be 16 hours. And that's awesome. But if you think about it this way, if you only focus on your window being open at noon to 8, and one day you're like, oh, I can't eat lunch until 1. And then, oh, I had dinner at 6. Look at how many hours you gained of fasting time without even knowing or thinking. So let's not worry so much about fasting timing. Instead, let's just focus on your window and where you are going to stay strict to stay within the window. It can be at any amount of time you want. It can be 4 hours. It can be 8 hours. It can be 6. It can be 1 like me. There's even some people that do 2. So let's just focus on when you want your window to open so that you have the freedom to eat and drink, juice or diet soda or whatever you want. All right? All right. So now we know that. So you're going to pick your window, right? Now let's talk about what you eat. A lot of people will say, hey, you need to do low carb, you need to do keto, Atkins, hey, you need to be vegan on this if you want to see benefits, in healing of your body. But the great thing about intermittent fasting is that you can do any diet with intermittent fasting and you will see benefits. You can even do no diet, which means you can eat whatever you want and drink whatever you want. I, for the first 9 weeks, did no diet. I ate, I drank, and did whatever I want. I did keep it to 1 meal a day, which is awesome, but I was eating processed food, I was eating fast food, I ate whatever I wanted. I have to tell you that the first 30 days was really hard. It may have been hard because of what I was putting in my body. Maybe it was making me crave more sugar, making me crave whatever. But to tell you the truth, it's what I needed to do to stick to 1 meal a day. I needed to know that I only had to delay for whatever amount of hours to get to my window, and then I could enjoy whatever I want. Sometimes I even jumped in the car and drove straight to Dairy Queen, and I opened my window up with a blizzard. All right, not saying that's the healthiest thing, but one thing good about intermittent fasting, when you finally get over all the adjustment of getting used to what you're doing in your body, realizing that fasting is now a norm, it gets way easier. And when it gets way easier, then you can kind of add a little bit more challenges. And that's exactly what I did. I added a challenge this week to go low carb. I still had a couple of potatoes here and there, but I made sure it was whole food carbs. But I definitely got rid of processed food. I definitely got rid of, really just sugary stuff. And I even eliminated Diet Coke. I think I only had 2 so far this week, and that is amazing for me. So that's what's great. When you start feeling good about where you're at and start to feel easier, then challenge. Start really researching what you feel is best for you. There's so much information out there, and it's up to you to figure out what you can do at the moment and what is best for you, okay? But the main thing is to forget about dieting, all right? Intermittent fasting is a lifestyle. You're gonna see benefit from it, and don't worry so much about calories and diet until you've gotten the adjustment done and you're ready for that. Just my suggestion, okay? All right. Now, I found a few little like some really cool information that kind of, I started actually all of these this week. And the first one is apple cider vinegar. All right. I have been reading a lot of books, I've been watching a lot of YouTube, but I read The Obesity Code. And this book, talks a lot about, they had tons of testing on people, all ages and everything. And they found that when people drank vinegar and got vinegar in their belly 20 minutes before they ate, it actually lowered their insulin spike by like 30%. And it was across the board, men, women, young, old. And that's awesome, because if we don't have such a high insulin spike, our body's going to work and it's going to get that insulin down a lot quicker, and then start working into our fat stores, start healing our body and doing what it needs to detox us a lot quicker than if we allow those really high insulin spikes. So that might help a little bit with your body getting there where it's just burning fat stores and just healing, okay? Number two, I just learned this today from my friend C-Dub, Taking Down Fat with C-Dub, and he talks about coffee and the timing of coffee. I know I said during your fast you can have all the coffee you want, black coffee, but there is a timing logic behind it. And I had not done that for the first 10 weeks. I drank coffee as soon as I woke up. But I found out that it might be beneficial for you to wait a couple of hours after you wake to do your coffee. And this is why. Your body has to slowly wake up and get ready to go with no stress in that. It's just got to move into the day. All right. If you go downstairs all tired, half asleep, grab a cup of coffee and intake that caffeine, it could cause cortisol to spike. And in return, cortisol activates an insulin spike. So we just broke a fast, okay? And we don't want to do that. So take your time with the coffee. Wait 2 hours if you gotta go for a walk, if you gotta straighten up the house, or even if you gotta drive into work and wait to have coffee when you get there. I suggest you do that, all right? Number three, I learned, is exercise. When you're exercising, it is best to exercise as far as cardio and calorie burning exercises before you open your window. So get that in before you open your window. And this is why it has been shown that if you do cardio, calorie burning exercises in your fasted state, you could burn up to 2 times the amount of fat stores. That's pretty cool, and that is worth doing. So yes, do your cardio. As far as weightlifting, I have watched a lot, and they suggest lifting weights inside your window after you ate, or a little bit of time, even if you ate at 5 and you closed your window, you still have 8 hours of your body working off that food you just ate. So you want to lift weights then, so that your body is actually working off that fuel and doesn't start working off your own muscle. It's kind of counterproductive there. So those are some tips, all right? So you can do this journey, make it about you. You're not doing anything wrong. All right, make sure, clean fast, all right? Pick your window and dedicate yourself to only eating within that window, all right? Number 2, you decide your diet. You can no diet, you can keto, you can do whatever, but you do what you need to do to get through your adjustment period. When you're starting feeling really good about life, you feel like it's getting easier, then challenge yourself. Start checking out what kind of fuel is better for your body and what can get you to a better state of weight loss. That's what I did this week. It took me, week 11 to decide that, all right? And number 3, keep those little apple cider vinegar, keep that delayed coffee, and remember when to do the exercise. Just keep that in the back of the mind. You don't have to do it, it's just things that might help boost you, all right? But that's all I wanted to jump on here and talk to you about. Just give you kind of an overview on what I feel is a beneficial way to start. Like I said, I am not a specialist in this. I'm just somebody who started doing it, and I've been picking up a little knowledge here and there as I go. So you could not agree with me, but I think that the first step is getting started. And when you learn more and you get more knowledge, adjust it for what's best for you. All right? Talk to you later.